I know if I don't hear you or anything there, just in case you got trouble getting, when you call that in again,
Yes.
just text on, that's all. You
Okay.
shouldn't have, you shouldn't have any trouble, but just in case you do.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Ms. Tran. Okay, okay, so for which one are you making reference to?
The adoption of the meeting minutes from the last meeting. I have to prepare conflict for that one.
Okay. Have that noted down for time. All right, thank you. Okay, so we're ready to, go?
You can take them up there.
Hmm?
You can remind everyone if you're comfortable in the chambers, if you're.
Okay, yeah, do you wanna take that off, Robbie, your mask? It's okay to do so.
Thank you.
I know, we appreciate that. Okay, you ready? Good evening, fellow councilors, staff, residents. I'd like to call the this council meeting to order. Have a motion for the adoption of the agenda, please.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? None, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Trina?
Deputy Mayor, just a question. Do we do our go round first to see if there's new business before we adopt the
I
agenda?
don't have anything here to do. Thank you, Councilor Appleby. We do. Welcome. All right, thank you. Okay. Councilor Capper, do you have anything for new business?
No.
Rhonda?
No.
Tony?
Nope,
No?
pass.
Councilor Appleby?
Thank you, please.
Thank you. And Councilor Goss?
Congratulations.
Okay. All right, and I have, thank you as well. Okay. Already got the motion there, so, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, next is the adoption of the public council minutes dated April 4th.
Deputy Mayor, I need to declare a conflict there, please.
Okay, thank you. So Deputy Mayor has indicated conflict there. So.
Yeah, I'm the vice president of M&L, and there's a motion in there that has to do with the canoe procurement, as well as the motion that has to do with me and, yeah, just anything to do with me in there. So I think what I'm gonna do is, just cite the conflict and step away, please.
Okay, thank you.
Do I need to go to council, or can I just step away?
I think you should be to the phone and just step away.
Okay, thank you. I'll disconnect, and will someone let me know when I can reconnect?
Yeah, okay. Dawn's gonna let you know when you can reconnect.
Okay, I'm hanging up now. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Which one? Yours.
And the other one as well?
Yes.
That'll help. Okay, so, any, errors or omissions? Could I have a, motion for
So
okay, seconder?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. So we need to get Councillor Appleby back. Counselor Appleby?
I'm there.
Okay, thank you.
Deputy Mayor, I just received a message from a resident who said they're unable to hear. Is it possible to check the microphones in the
Yes.
space to make
Well,
sure that it's...
Yeah, we have it corrected, the two microphones here, we're not,
Oh.
we're not turned on, so Ann just brought it to my attention.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Okay, now we have the proclamations, and the first one is Earth Day.
Thank you, Your Worship. This proclamation recognizing April 22nd, 2022 as Earth Day. Whereas Earth Day is celebrated annually to celebrate the beauty of our planet, recommit to actions to promote a healthy environment, and to maintain a peaceful, just, and sustainable world. And whereas Earth Day was first celebrated in 1970 in the United States, has since grown to be a worldwide day of environmental action. And whereas with urban areas set to become home to 2/3 of the world population by 2050, and as climate change is being observed and experienced, municipalities find themselves at the front line of the battle against climate change. And whereas, under the theme of Remedy Together, Earth Day 2022 hopes to raise awareness among Canadians about eco-anxiety and the need to take action together as a cure for both ourselves and also so as to help care for our planet. Whereas the town of Torbay has proclaimed 2022 Year of the Garden and is pledging to plant over 100 trees this year in partnership with the Lions Club and other groups to continue protecting our wetlands, rivers and shorelines. This will include the planting of fruit-bearing trees and shrubs, growing our existing community gardens, thereby improving food security. And whereas the town of Torbay has adopted a climate change action plan in September 2021 committed to reducing greenhouse gas emissions and striving to become carbon neutral by 2050. And whereas the town of Torbay has partnered with Earth Day Canada, multiple municipalities across the country, and a number of organizations and citizens locally to meet the goals of Earth Day. This includes, but is not limited to, the Partners for Climate Protection, the National Garden Council, the Stewardship Association of Municipalities and Eastern Habitat Joint Ventures, the Conservation Corps of Newfoundland and Labrador, Munn Botanical Garden, the Torbay Environment Advisory Committee, the East Coast Trail Association, and Ducks Unlimited.
Now therefore, on behalf of the council of the town of Torbay and on behalf of the citizens of Torbay, I hereby proclaim Friday, April 22nd, 2022 as Earth Day. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Aye.
Trina?
Deputy Mayor, can I just make one comment before we vote on this?
Sure.
I just wanted to note that this is a really important proclamation for us. We had the rain event that happened in Port-aux-Basques there last November. And at the same time, on the other side of Canada, we had the mudslides that were absolutely catastrophic in British Columbia. And as it says in the proclamation, you know, the climate issues are real, and they are impacting us, you know, not only with just the events themselves, but also economically and the ability to get access to materials, especially up here on the island. When Port-aux-Basques, you know, experienced that kind of rain, the ability to access food and resources would have been very, very difficult if it wasn't for the extra trips that were put to Argentia at the time. So I just want to mention that this is very important. I'm very glad that we as Torbay are leaders in this role. And I noticed that some of the work that we did with the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, there was also a discussion about the protection of wetlands and the importance of the work that's done around the wetlands when it comes to these increased volumes of water. So just thank you for the opportunity to speak. I certainly will support the proclamation. I'm very glad that our town is a leader in dealing with Earth Day issues and climate resiliency. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Appleby. Okay, the next one we have is Volunteer Week. We didn't vote? Sorry. See, I know somebody's gonna have to keep me on track. Full-time job tonight. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Ward?
Aye.
Motion carried. The next one we have is Volunteer Week.
Okay, Volunteer Week 2022 proclamation. Whereas the town of Torbay recognizes the enormous contribution that volunteers and community organizations make to the social, cultural, and economic development of our province. And whereas it has been recognized that volunteers in Newfoundland and Labrador have a significant and positive impact on the quality of life for our citizens. And whereas the town of Torbay acknowledges the theme, volunteering is empathy in action, volunteering brings heart to Canada's communities, for Volunteer Week 2022, and recognizes the many people who contribute to our Torbay by volunteering.
Therefore, we sign this proclamation and declare the period from April 24th to the 30th in 2022 to be observed as Volunteer Week in the town of Torbay. So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Deputy Mayor, if I could just address this one as well.
Yeah.
This is such an important proclamation. We have the backbone of all of our communities are volunteers, and everything from sports to recreation to music festivals, looking after seniors, looking after families. There's so many pieces here, and I know just alone for our 50th celebration work that you guys are working towards this year, there's a whole army of volunteers working together to make that happen. So I just want to recognize that, many communities, volunteers are the backbones that make things happen, and it's awesome that we are recognizing this week and all the work that people in our community do to help everybody. So thank you.
Thank you. And without getting into repeating a lot of what Councillor Appleby said, I concur with her comments, because the volunteers is the backbone of our community. And it's hard to single out any one group, because it's always been my practice in the past, guaranteed they'll end up omitting somebody, and that's the worst thing that you can do. So thank you to all of our volunteers in the community. Anybody else? No? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I said that already.
Aye.
Aye. And opposed? Sorry. Motion carried. All right, our next one is, according to the agenda, is National Organ and Tissue Donor Awareness Week.
Okay, proclamation, National Organ and Tissue Donor Awareness Week. The Canadian Transplant Association, CTA, was created in 1987 to raise awareness about organ donation and celebrate the success of transplants in saving lives. Members of the CTA consist of transplant recipients, athletes, and volunteers dedicated to promoting organ and tissue transplants and providing support networks to donors and recipients. Whereas last year in Canada there were 4,500 Canadians awaiting a life-saving organ transplant, and whereas 75 people could receive tissue from one donor, and whereas one organ and tissue donor can save up to 8 lives and hence as many as 75.
Now therefore, on behalf of the community of Torbay, I do hereby proclaim April 24th to the 30th, 2022 to be Organ and Tissue Donor Awareness Week. So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay. I just want to comment there that when my brother passed away, was the first time that I had anybody close to me that donated their organs, and it was a big decision because he hadn't had anything at that point in time, nothing signed, and it was such a good feeling a year or two later when we had a card that came thanking him as a result of him donating his eyes that somebody could see after so many years of not being able to. So it was so good to actually have that acknowledged. So anyway, it was one of those good news stories. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. And now we move on to to our last proclamation. Councillor Pollard.
Thank you, Your Worship. This is Safe and Healthy Week, May 1st to the 7th, 2022. Together we can create safe workplaces and communities every day, all year long. Whereas the goal of Safety and Health Week is to focus employers, employees, partners, and the public on awareness, understanding, and the importance of preventing injury and illness in the workplace, at home, and in our communities. Whereas the majority of workplace injuries, illnesses, and fatalities are preventable, and whereas safer organizations enjoy increased productivity, higher employee satisfaction, and a better reputation, while recording less lost time and lower workers' compensation and healthcare costs. And whereas the town of Torbay recognizes the importance of safety and health and are committed to providing a safe and healthy workplace by eliminating workplace hazards causing injury, illness, harassment, and violence across the organization. Whereas during the week of May 1st to the 7th, 2022, the town of Torbay's occupational health and safety committees will increase employer, employee, and public awareness of being safe at work to encourage safe practices and enhance workplace safety efforts. And
Now therefore, I, Deputy Mayor Thorne Goss, do hereby proclaim May 1st to the 7th, 2022 to be Safety and Health Week in the town of Torbay, and encourage all industries, organizations, community leaders, employers, and employees to support activities designed to increase awareness of the importance of safe workplaces. So moved.
second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carried. Okay, now we move on to presentations. I'd like to ask Robbie, go forward. The East Coast Trail Association and the 2022 Trail Raiser Community Hike. You don't need that on now to speak.
Well, hello, everyone, and I have to say that after, I don't know how many months it's been since the last time I was in these chambers, it's very nice to see you again, and there are some new faces, so nice to see you. June 4th is International Trails Day, and the East Coast Trail Association is going to have its annual community hike fundraiser on that day, with festivities centered in Portugal Cove St. Phillips. We've had it here in the past, a couple of times, I think, but this year it's Portugal Cove St. Phillips. The Torbay Coyotes team has a long history of participating in this event as top fundraisers. We're very proud that since 2011, our teams have raised over $88,000. If we reach this year's goal of $12,000, we will reach a milestone of $100,000 in contributions, funds that we have raised for in past years. This past year has been hard on the East Coast Trail, with very high winds causing significant tree blowdown, on top of increased wear and tear on trail infrastructure, which is a byproduct of our popularity and our vital contribution through high usage in these COVID times. Each year, the town of Torbay has supported our fundraising by contributing $500 to the event. These past donations have been invaluable to the care and maintenance of our beautiful trail, as well as the safety of hikers. I am requesting a contribution from the town again this year, and very much hope that we can set an example to other communities along the East Coast Trail by demonstrating Torbay's support of the trail. I would also like approval to place an ad in the May issue of the Northeast Avalon Times, and also ask that Torbay advertise the event through Torbay Talks and other social media platforms. In celebration of Torbay's 50th anniversary and to mark Come Home Year 2022, we also invite council and staff to form a team and enter the hike. Your encouragement of participation by other towns at upcoming meetings of liaison committees, for example, Northeast Avalon Joint Council, Urban Municipalities of Newfoundland and Labrador, joint meetings of mayors, et cetera, would be greatly appreciated as well. And I've got the website for details about the fundraiser on this sheet of paper, and also the contact information for myself and for Madeleine Florent. So if anyone has any questions at all, please feel free to contact either one of us. And I can leave this
Yes,
with...
please.
Okay.
You take that down so that you'll have information.
Okay, thank you all very much.
Thank you very much, Robbie. Good luck with it this year. You know, you
Thanks.
always do well, so,
We do.
yes.
Excuse me, Robbie, the sign-up is still available online, isn't it? You're still, your partners, and you can sign up online through East Coast Trail as well for the
Yes, if you
fundraising.
go to the East Coast Trail website,
Mhm.
and just, you'll see right on the main page, there's the link to the fundraiser, and you just follow the instructions.
Okay, thank you very much. Don, do we have any Q&As? Okay, mayor's report, there's, the one thing I know, Mayor Scott was involved in a number of things, but I know I attended the seniors Easter bonnet concert with him, and it was a wonderful experience. I thoroughly enjoyed my time down there, so big thank you to the Gallows Cole Band and Traditional Coffee House for the goodies, and a special thank you to the staff at the Common for organizing such a great time, so much appreciated. All right, business arising, there's no new business arising. Correspondence we have here from the Federation of Canadian Budget Municipalities for 2022. So this here is something that we'll pass along down to Corporate Services. Okay, thank you. And next we...
Deputy Mayor, can I
Yeah.
reference one point in that, please?
Okay,
I just want to reference under gender equity. This work falls under the work that we've done under the committee that I have chaired this past year to increase women's participation in the municipal government sector across Canada. And I just want to note there it says that FCM welcomes the commitment of $539.3 million towards developing a national action plan to end gender-based violence. FCM will continue to work with all orders of government to ensure municipalities are consulted on how this funding is implemented. That is a really big accomplishment this year, and I just want to do a shout out to all the staff and the members of the committee who have been working towards addressing the gender equity issues that exist in the sector. And I just wanted to highlight that because it is something that our council has had a role in, and it's been very great to have the opportunity to play a leadership role the last 2 years at that committee level. And just wanted to recognize the good work that was done there, and that's a significant investment of the federal government towards, ending gender-based violence. So I just wanted to mention that and touch on that because we've had a direct role in doing that work from the town's level. So thank you. Appreciate the opportunity.
thank you, Councillor Appleby. Next we have the committees of council, and there's nothing, no minutes there for the committee of the whole. So the next one would be our planning, land use development. Councillor Pollard?
Thank you, Your Worship.
And I'd like to add in there now that Councillor Goss, there's one of the motions when we get to it, that you'll have to declare conflict.
The next one, second one.
Second one,
Yep.
okay? All right, thank you.
I'll give you time to run away.
Okay,
We met on April 8th. So first one here is we have a Crown Land referral for east of Edgewater Lane to the south of Cedarwood Lane. Is received a Crown Land referral pertaining to proposed acquisition of a 6.97 hectare sized piece of Crown land at the edge of Edgewater Lane, south of Cedarwood Lane by Marathon Holdings Inc. for the purpose of developing a residential subdivision. So this gets, we don't have any problem with this. This is something that was in process before and wasn't followed up on, and now the proponent wants to continue on and get the Crown Land to put a subdivision there. And it's attached to other lands by Marathon Holdings as well. So the motion is to approve Crown Land referral 159442, and for the Planning and Development Department to complete the referral form back to Crown Lands in support of the proposed Crown Land acquisition. So moved.
Second?
Okay, discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, so the next one.
I will sign off on that one there, Deputy Mayor Thorne.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
The next motion is for a resolution to make an amendment to the wildlife rehabilitation regulations. So further to past resolutions 138, 2020 and 135, 2021, the Planning and Development Department has now concluded the public consultation process for the proposed amendment to the Torbay Development Regulations 2015 to 2025, specifying conditions for a proposed wildlife rehabilitation center use in the town of Torbay on Quigley's Lane. So this is an amendment process, so a copy of the amendment documents and background report, as well as public consultation ad are attached for reference. So the next step in the overall process is the adoption of the amendment, and once the amendment process has been concluded, it can be registered by Municipal Affairs and it'll come into legal effect after that. So the motion is to adopt the Torbay Development Regulations Amendment Number 11, 2022, also known as Wildlife Rehabilitation Center Amendment, in accordance with the requirements of the Urban and Rural Planning Act 2000. So moved.
Second?
okay, discussion? All in favor?
Deputy Mayor, if I
Oh,
could
sorry.
just,
Okay.
if I could just make a quick comment here. You know, it's amazing that we're taking this leadership role when it comes to wildlife rehabilitation, and I'm very glad to see us providing support, you know, and the ability to do that work. So I fully support this amendment and moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. We need to get Ward back.
The next is board.
Yeah, we need to get, yeah. And just for any of our viewers, we had two people, Counselor Appleby and Counselor Goss, who called in. So we're just waiting to get them back on the line now. So that's that's the reason for the delay. You there, Ward?
I'm here, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Counselor Pollard.
Thank you. In accordance with prior resolutions, 211 and 212, 2021, made at the public council meeting of July 26, 21, the town of Torbay has now drafted mobile vending regulations. So we advertised and we got some feedback and made some adjustments to the regulations to be the document that are presented here in the attached document. And it's something that we do need moving forward, because at odd times throughout the year, especially during the summertime, we do get requests from mobile vendors to set up shop, and we need some guidelines associated with that. So that's what this amendment actually does. So the recommendation is the motion to adopt the Torbay Mobile Vending Regulations 2022 in accordance with Section 4142C of the Municipalities Act 1999, and advise the public and vendors accordingly about the coming into effect of these regulations. So moved.
Second?
Discussion?
Can I ask a question? What specifically are the amendments to the policy that we are adopting here? I don't see this specific changes, and just want to make sure I'm clear before I vote.
Before and after shot, Councilor Appleby, is what you're asking for?
Yes, please, Councillor Pollard. I'm just asking for which are the changes that we are amending in the policy, so I'm clear before we vote on it.
I can't speak specifically to all the ones that have changed. I just know that the full document is there in the back and has incorporated some responses from some vendors outside.
Right, and the question I have, we went through a fair bit of work to get this policy in place when we drafted the first one.
Yep.
And the reason I'm asking the question is I'm trying to understand what the changes are that we are implementing here. I know that the requirement to have, proper certifications for safety reasons were required and those sorts of things. And before I vote to amend it, I'd like to know exactly what those amendments are. I don't know if staff could advise for us what they are, but I can't see in here, reading through what the amendments are and what the changes are and why we would be amending them. I don't see that in. I see that we advertised it, and I did see the email here that came into Director Schwartz, but I don't understand. Normally in a document when we have amendments or changes, like there's a color code or something to show us, and I just don't know what the changes are that we're voting on.
Jason, do you happen to know
I
what
don't
they
have
are?
I don't have a copy relatively available there now with the previous regulation, but I can pull up a copy of it and revise it if you want to. I guess park this one for now, and before the meeting's out, I can.
Yeah, we can
do a
crack
more
look at it
description.
before and after. I don't think these have been adopted prior anyway.
I
This-
don't think
This is the
so.
first
Quite
time, so
dated.
this is not, it's not a readoption of anything. It's the adoption based on feedback that was received from the public. And actually, the only feedback that we received in written form is actually attached there as well. I don't know if that helps Councilor Appleby or not.
This is
Yeah,
our
and
first
that's-
time having those. This has been on the
It's not an
go since
amendment as
last year.
such.
Is that, Jason?
Yeah, it's not an amendment.
Yeah, it's not an amendment.
So, my understanding though is we already had adopted in the past term of council a mobile vending regulation to have that in place so that we would be sure that existed. I know we adopted policy on that.
I thought.
I'm just I'm
thought
trying
we
to
talked
understand
about
what's changed.
Yeah. I
We
thought
can-
we
we can
talked
park-
about
We
it.
can park this and bring it back next time. There's no immediate rush on it, to just get further clarification there. But I don't think we ever did adopt
No.
the regulations. I think there was discussion around it, and I think there was, the draft was done, and I know a particular resident in town who was a mobile vendor as well, had some discussion around it. I remember that, and the opening up of the common and the discussion around how and where and a vendor can operate. And I think that's just fallen out from where it is now. We can get
Yeah.
further clarification and send that on for next meeting.
I remember us bringing this forward and moving it. So yeah, it says here, in accordance with resolution Res 2122/2021, May's Public Council meeting of July 26, 2021, the town of Torbay has drafted mobile vending regulation. So I'd just like to get clarification on what amendments or what changes or what's happening with this before I vote on it, that's all.
That's no problem. We can defer. Vote to defer.
So you want to defer? Okay. So it's more,
Motion just so that's on record to defer.
Move to
okay,
defer.
so,
Second?
okay, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Motion carried. Okay, moving right along.
And the last one was just a motion to accept the 2022 permit listings for week ending April 14th, 2022 as tabled. So moved.
Second?
Okay, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ward?
Aye.
Okay, opposed, motion carried. Okay, next we have Administration and Human Resources, Councillor Manning.
Okay. So we had our meeting on Monday, April the 11th. Myself, Councillor Tapper, and Councillor Thorngoss, or Deputy Mayor, sorry, and Director Mark Whalen and CAO Don Chaplin attended. Discussion, recruitment and selection. The capital asset mapping technologist update. Committee members were provided with an update on the external recruitment process. It's been posted, and it has been extended to Career Beacon, MNL, and PMA, and the Association of Engineering Technicians and Technologists of Newfoundland and Labrador, closing date April the 18th. To date, we've received a number of applications which will be reviewed and pre-screened once competition closes. Aim is to have this position filled May the 16th. Next, we did summer positions, Recreation and Community Services update. We were provided with the update on the process, which is underway to staff the various summer positions at the community centre. External job posting closed on Friday, April 8th, and we've received a tremendous amount of interest in the various positions to be staffed. Director of Human Resources is currently working with the Director of Recreation and Community Services in the pre-screening. The aim is to have the selection process completed and the position staffed on or before May the 13th. We also have work integrated learning opportunities with Kona Business Administration and Municipalities NL. We were provided with an update on the joint initiative underway between Municipalities Newfoundland and Kona with respect to identifying and securing a number of 6 to 8 week work term placements within the various municipalities across the province of recent graduates. So the Director of Human Resources is currently working with the college and applicable directors and final details and timelines. Further update will be provided once it's been finalised. Hopefully that'll work out well for the town, and we'll get some good interest there. Strategic planning, process time frame, and resident survey option. Committee members, along with the CAO, discussed proposed timelines with respect to the 2022-2025 strategic plan. We determined that the next steps will be to conduct a roundtable discussion amongst all members of council and senior management at the May 9th Committee of the Whole meeting. The meeting agenda will include an update on the implementation of the current 2018-2021 strategic plan, timelines associated with draft plan and presentation to the public and adoption by council. Policies and procedures, professional development travel policy. Committee members, along with the CAO, took an opportunity to discuss the most recent professional development travel policy implemented and the follow-up actions items required to be completed. Next, we have the volunteer policy, next steps. We reviewed and discussed the draft volunteer policy to be implemented and adopted by council. Copy of the draft policy will be circulated to all members of council for review and feedback prior to being brought forward for adoption. The performance, productivity, training, development, the 2021 engagement survey, gap analysis, draft presentation. We finalized next steps in presenting this 2021 gap analysis engagement survey to all members of council. A meeting invite has been sent by the CAO to all members of council for April the 26th to have this presented to us. And that was it. Next meetings for April the 26th. Anyone have any questions or concerns?
I have a question, if it's okay.
Yeah.
Pat, go ahead, Councillor.
Just a question here about the gap analysis draft presentation. Is this going to be circulated to members of council to review before the meeting? I'd like to have some time to read and really process and understand what we're going to be talking about before that meeting happens. So I'm just curious to see if the documents will be ready and if it can be shared to council before the meeting so we can read it and review it and understand what's in there.
Okay, that's our plan to do that before the meeting so that any councillors have any questions or concerns, we can chat about it at that meeting or bring it up then. So you will get
So
a
will
prior.
we have a copy?
Yes, you get
Will
a
we
prior.
have a copy of that before Friday?
Yes,
Is that possible?
Yes, I don't see that being a
Yes, I
problem.
see Mert,
It's good, yeah.
yeah, shaking his head, yes.
You will have it before
Dawn,
Friday.
yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be great, because it'll give us the weekend then to read it, review it, and get our questions ready for Tuesday night. Thanks, guys,
Absolutely.
appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Manning. Next, we have, what am I to, Corporate Services, Councilor Tapper.
Okay, our committee met on April 13th. In your package, there are a total of 12 documents listed. We'll deal with number 1 first, and I'll read this into the record. Payroll, regular payroll for 47 employees for the 2-week period ended April the 8th, 2022, totaling $120,061.80. Council remuneration for the 3-month period ended March 31st, 2022, total $39,282.60. Accounts payable for the 2-week period ended April 8, 2022, invoices in the amount of $159,460.57 were processed. So we have 9 invoices for approval, seeking approval, 9 operating invoices totaling $242,960.75. So I'll list these. Invoice number 170626. I'm sorry, first one is March 2022. CIBC Mellon, pension remittances, $36,116.52. Invoice 170626. GFL Environmental Inc., March waste disposal fees, $45,307.16. Invoice April 1st, 2022, NL Power, street lighting, $19,764.61. Invoice 103633, Municipal Assessment Agency, second quarter assessment fees, $25,467. Invoice March 16th to the 31st, 2022, Receiver General of Canada, March 16th to the 31st, payroll deductions, $90,545.89. Invoice 202228983, Town of Flat Rock garbage rental, $7,744.82. Invoice G412346, Technical Rope and Rescue Inc., Ice Commander Cold Water Suits, $6,756.25. Invoice 211989, Triware Technologies Inc., HPE Point Next Extended Warranty Agreement, $5,508.50. Invoice 212878, Triware Technologies Inc., prepaid IT support, $5,750. So moved.
Seconded,
Second.
discussion? I can ask a question, can I? I can hand it, yeah. I just hand the chair down to Councillor Pollard.
Thanks, Your
Just
Worship.
like to ask
Go
a
ahead.
question, on the one for Flat Rock, garage rental. Why would we be paying?
That's for the, excuse me, that's the fire department paying a rental for their garage to store the fire truck down at Flat Rock.
I didn't realize that we actually paid rental for that. It's interesting. Thank you very much. Thank you, Councillor Pollard. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Deputy Mayor?
Hello?
Deputy Mayor?
Yeah?
Yeah, sorry. Before we call a question, could we just, is that part of the agreement that we have with Flat Rock, the MOU for the fire department? Is that what that is? Is that part of the agreement that we pay rental to them for space down there?
We pay rent to them for the garage rental. That gets included in the total overall costs of the operation of the fire department, which then gets allocated out to the town of Flat Rock and between us on a per capita basis.
They pay.
Right, but is that part of the MOU that we have, that we make that payment? Or is that something that has traditionally been done? And I just have a few questions around that after the deputy mayor's question. I think it's something that you know, if we have a memorandum of understanding working together and we are, and I don't know how often we review the memorandum of understanding and how the regional cooperation works, but I think that, and the reason I'm asking the question is Deputy Mayor's question, you know, piqued it for me when she said, I didn't realize we did that either. And I think it's interesting to, one, find out, is that part of the terms of the agreement, or is it something that traditionally has been done? And two, you know, when do we revisit the memorandum of understanding for the agreements around the fire, you know, the fire agreement that we have? Is this something that's done annually, or is it something that's done, you know, at a certain period of time, so we can understand if there are changes or things we need to be thinking about there? I think that the Deputy Mayor makes a really good point in asking the question. I think it's worth probing a little bit more to get a bit more information for ourselves and the public. Thank you.
So the fire department budget is based on per capita, 83% the town of Torbay, 17% to the town of Flat Rock. We do pay expenditures, our proportion of expenditures related to the substation, which is what's called here the garage. So that could be heat, light, insurance, maintenance, anything of that nature. We pay 83% of the cost. There is a memorandum of, there is an agreement in place. It was updated last term of council, and that's when we brought in the chief honorarium as well too. That was based on per household, and that is executed. I will have a check to see if there's a term on that. It was updated from the previous memorandum of understanding, which was a 7-year period tied to the acquisition of the Flat Rock pumper. So that is a budgeted item. That is a budgeted item. There is a GL in the expense report allocated to Flat Rock substation.
Thank you, Don. I appreciate that update. And just the last thing I would ask is that if you could check into when the term for that MOU is, and if there's a, if there isn't a term, that maybe we send it back to the appropriate committee to have a conversation about a time to revisit and renew the MOU. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay,
Okay, there's 5 capital invoices in the amount of $122,849.43. Motion for approval. Invoice P22-0007, Island Office, History House Office and Museum Workroom Furniture, $14,911. Invoice P22-0007R2, Island Office, Archives Room, Reception and Multi-Purpose Room Furniture, $19,129.28. Invoice 12067, Skyline Atlantic Canada, Torbay Common, Entrance Sign, Shop Drawings, $24,228.64. Invoice 12068, Skyline Atlantic Canada, Torbay Common, Entrance Sign Fabrication, $24,861.88. Invoice 355836747, Exlum Canada LP, Copper Top Control Panel, $39,718.63. So moved.
Second.
discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Anything else, Councilor?
Okay, yes, just to, there's a motions report number 2. There's only one motion. The Corporate Services Committee, in accordance with the town's donation policy, recommends a donation of $100 to Kristen Rumsey to assist with travel costs relating to her travel to Halifax for an Atlantic dance competition with Fusion Dance Studio. So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried.
Document 3, it's the, our committee minutes. And there is some items here to refer to. Payroll and accounts payable processed, refer to document number 5. And number 2, the invoices under $5,000 refer to document 6. Any questions on either of those two? Document number 3, the check registrar, referred to document number 7. That covers March 26th to April the 8th. Any questions on that one? And the Torbay common signage, refer to documents 9, 10, and 11. Any questions on that?
So good to see that happening, so that's,
And I believe there's documents number 8 and 12, we've dealt with the motion. And number 8 is the revenues and expenditures from the March 26th to April the 8th. Any questions on that one?
Can I ask a question on an earlier point, please?
okay, go ahead.
For the Torbay common signage, I agree with you, Deputy Mayor. I'm very glad to see that moving forward. I'm glad to see ACO's contribution to that being utilized. Just a question though, have we confirmed the space of where that's going to go? Is that finally seen to and taken care of as we are getting into the place to be able to make the payment on it? Has that been determined?
I met with Jen this week, and Jen has met with, I think, Jason and Julia in planning. What they're looking for now is they have the idea of where it's going to go. They just need to get the power line easement to make sure that it doesn't get put in the power line easement outside the common.
And has that been checked against Public Works? Because I do know that when we did have this discussion in the past, there were places it couldn't go for different reasons. Has that been run through Brian? Like, have all the location issues around that been cleared?
Right?
Sorry,
Okay.
apologize.
This one's green too.
Oh, there's too many,
Sorry, the
too many people are lit
minutes
up.
aren't working, but yeah, I've been working with Brian, the Director of Public Works,
Try
on
not to.
that. I think it's working now, is it?
No, first of all, no, there's too many lights up.
Okay, we're good now. I've been working with the planning department and the director of public works on to make sure all the, the rules are followed with regards to power line easements. Also had site visits with Newfoundland Power and the provincial government. So the entrance sign, the permit is on the way for that one. And the one on the highway has kind of been revised a little bit based on what the government's saying. So I should know more information on that this week, hopefully. But the entrance one is all good to go.
Awesome. Thanks, Jen. Appreciate the clarification on that. I just wanted to make sure because there were questions around that. But very, very much appreciate all of your work, guys, on getting this moved forward. That's excellent. And I do have one more question. One of the points that was referenced, that under the check register, there's almost $20,000 worth of cost there that's been spent to Stuart McKelvey. Is it possible to get a review for the public in the next council package where that money is going? That's $20,000 and 3 separate checks there of public money going to the lawyers. I think it's important that the public understand what we're spending the $11,000, $6,000, and $300 and change on, if that's possible to be provided. Thanks, guys.
Okay, thank you.
I can have that for the next meeting.
Okay, Councilor.
Thank you,
That's my
Norm.
report.
Just a question. I know we had asked in the past that there be notes provided in the package about where that money is going. Did that happen for those accounts? And maybe I missed it. It's possible I did. But I just think it's really important that if we are spending money on legal fees for different things, that the public is able to understand where their money is going.
For the legal invoices, if they're
Yeah.
over 5,000, they go through usually a council meeting or two before before we actually pay them.
Right.
So then the check register follows, because obviously we can't pay them until after they've been approved by council. But I will go back
Yeah.
and look these up.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. I may have missed it in the package, Norm, when it was presented. So I just want to make sure that, my understanding is that when we bring these forward, that it's in the package for residents to understand where the money is being spent. But I really appreciate you taking the time for those 3 items in the check register, to have that there for the public next meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Tapper,
We're done?
we're done.
Yep.
Thank you very much. Now we're on to economic development and tourism. Councillor Appleby, do you want to give your report, or will I refer it over to Councillor Manning?
Can you guys hear me okay? I'm happy to refer to Councillor Manning if you can't hear me.
No, we can hear you fine.
Okay, then I don't mind presenting it.
Okay.
We met on Wednesday, March 24th at 6 p.m. We had a conversation under economic development about the Killick Coast Agricultural Plan update. We received an update from our Economic Development Tourism Officer, Deanne Lawrence, about that. The Torbay Business Awards, we had an update on that. The Youth Entrepreneur Project, which is of special interest to me. I love to see anything that gets young people thinking about starting up businesses and doing some work with that in the school. And I'd like to thank the schools for their partnerships to work with us on that. There was a M&L Big Data Demography Project update. The Community Business Support update, Deanne provided that. And there's a application that she's supporting for the Torbay Folk Arts Council for $20,000 to hopefully have resources for a special event or festival in 2023, which is exciting. And there were 2 new business startup inquiries and a total of 1 business closure inquiry in there. We talked about the Year of the Garden earlier when we talked about the Earth Day proclamation that happened, and really excited to see this coming together. Seed packets will be available, and it's really important that we have this conversation, especially around, food security and gardening. And if you're growing, it could be flowers to have a beautiful garden, which is what this is about, or, learning to grow food and produce. Sparing any sort of interest in gardening is excellent, and very, very appreciative of her work on that. And she noted in here that the what used to be NOIA, the Oil and Gas Industry Association for Newfoundland and Labrador, has changed its name to Energy NL. I'd also like to take a quick minute to thank her for the support that she provides as our Economic Development Tourism Officer to all the departments around business development and all the different activities that are part of what we do. And also to thank her for the support that she provides for the funding applications that we make. We do really good stuff there, and I think a shout out to her is deserved. Beyond that, Councillor Manning, do you have anything to add to the report?
No, it sounds good.
Okay, if anyone has any questions, we're happy to entertain them. Otherwise, so ends my report.
Okay, thank you very much, Councillor Appleby. Okay, next we have infrastructure and public works. Councillor Pollard.
Thank you, Your Worship. We didn't meet. A lot of information has not changed from the past time. I think things of note are the sidewalk project has picked up again, and everyone will notice that the signs are up, and you have the people moving around with their flags and everything. So hopefully that'll get completed sooner than expected, and we'll have our sidewalks in good order. There's a meeting tomorrow night in relation to the water flows and things of that nature with Wood, so we'll have more information to bring back after that, once we get an update from Wood in terms of the wastewater testing and the North Pond water flows, I guess. The yearly MMSB cleanup is project funding, I guess not that yearly one, but our yearly bulk drop-off is going to be tied to the MMSB cleanup project that we received some funding for, so we'll have a cleanup date been set for the 4th, and will coincide with the bulk garbage, and there will also be an appointment week the following week. So a combination of a number of things on the go at one time, all tied into the, I guess, the spring, early summer cleanup of the town. Other than that, unless someone has any questions, that's the end of the report. Thank you, Worship.
No questions or comments? Thank you very much, Councillor Pollard. Next, we have Community Services, Recreation and Community Services. Councillor Goss, do you, would you like to give the report? Will I ask Councillor Manning?
I can go ahead as long as you guys can hear me okay.
Okay, no, sounds good.
Thank you, Deputy Thorngoss. Because we had some scheduling conflicts around the last minute, these are just some minutes from the director, Jen Martin, for the week. We had a light schedule, so we were able to just take the minutes from Jen on this one. Program events, department is holding several Easter events, including Seniors Easter Bonnet concert, Torbay Comp, the Easter egg drop at Upper Three Corner Pond, with variety of drop-in programs for all ages offered at the Torbay Common throughout Easter week. Anybody looking to find what those programming are can check the Facebook group, Torbay Recreation. Volunteer Week, the department has set out invites for community groups and individuals to attend the Volunteer Appreciation Week. For Volunteer Week, it runs April 24th to the 30th. The theme is volunteering is empathy in action. On our facilities, splash pad, excuse me, staff are working with Marco to ensure the coating system installation is completed by June. Acoustics have been fully installed at the Torbay Common. That project is complete. Earth Day 2022, which is being celebrated on April 22nd with various initiatives there. Community cleanup, the town received $5,000 through the MMSB Come Home Year Cleanup Fund initiative. The director is working with the Economic Development and Tourism Officer and Director of Public Works to plan a community event. And funding as well, the town received $7,500 from the Active NL Fund to go towards outdoor rink projects in the fall and winter of 2022-2023. Our next meeting will be April 27th, 2022. So ends my report.
Any comments for Councillor Goss? Okay, thank you, Councillor Goss.
Thank you.
Okay, and next we're on to the liaison committees, council, History House and Museum. Councillor Tapper.
Okay, there's a summary report there from our History House manager. It includes some items: museum operations from March 31st to April 3rd. Nick Borsescu, a member of the museum planning group exhibit design team, met with the manager and the advisory committee to review exhibit themes, select artifacts, and discuss design. So artifacts have been selected to represent important periods and themes in Torbay's history. Windows and artifacts from the former Presentation Sisters Common are being incorporated into the museum. All exhibit spaces have been measured for design and installation. Public consultation meeting was held on Saturday, April 2nd at 1:30 to solicit community input and feedback. So for cultural programming, planning for the History House grand opening and Torbay Land and Sea Festival have begun, and planning committee meetings are scheduled for the week of April the 18th to the 22nd. Archival reference services and operations selection process is underway to find suitable CMS and EDRMS systems to support municipal information services. Collections Management System, CMS, will support museum and archives collections documentation, including accessioning, cataloging, condition reporting, and collections access compliant with both the Spectrum 5.0 and RAD standards. Electronic documents record records management system will support municipal records management, protection of privacy and access to information, including email and electronic document capture, records inventories, records classification and retention, and access to information requests. So the Torbay Municipal Advisory Committee has finalized its recommendation to the nominating committee, and the manager has submitted a letter to his worship requesting the nominating committee review and appoint new members to the MAC. I just want to mention that this letter has been forwarded to the mayor, and there are some new names, at least 5, in that document, and it would be important if the committee, I think the committee is made up of the manager, the CAO, and the mayor and 2 councillors. So if that committee could have a look at the names and make a recommendation, because the next advisory committee meeting is early May. So there's an in progress and complete grant applications. There was one there for federal, but it's still, the deadline for application is September the 1st to get that in. Municipal records management preparations are underway for review of the municipal records retention schedule and for a corporate-wide records inventory to be conducted in the fall. Both will support the development and implementation of a new classification taxonomy that will support the municipal records retention schedule. Any questions?
No questions?
I have a question, if I can.
Yep. Councillor Appleby?
Just curious about the process here for the Torbay Museum Advisory Committee. I know the council took a decision a while ago to change how this was set up and to create a new department. I have yet to see what's happening as far as the setup from the council's perspective for the new department. Is there going to be a director's role in place? Is there going to be a committee that this new department now reports to? Is there going to be a change with the liaison? Is there a need for the liaison? How is the committee going to function? I know that there was some things adopted, but there was different things in there around creating a new staff position and a new department that I haven't seen a org chart review or a return on investment or any documentation about the impact here of what happens when and if we apply for funds now as a department of the town rather than a separate organization. I'm just wondering if any of that documentation has been put together and when we can expect it. And I'm also wondering for the process for requesting nomination appointments, has there been a process in place for that? Is that something the mayor would appoint on his own? Is it something that would require a motion of council? How does that go? Because I'm not quite sure where we are on some of those things. So I'd appreciate some clarification if I could get it on that. Thanks.
Well, for the nominations for new advisory committee members, that is, the process is included in the document that council approved a few weeks ago. So that's and the committee makeup, like I mentioned, included the mayor, 2 councillors, the manager, and our CAO.
Okay.
Councillor Tapperford, for the rest of the questions, though, around return on investment, the finances when it comes to the new department, how it's set up, that sort of documentation, evaluation to the org chart, that kind of stuff. Has any of that been worked towards, or is that something that we can expect in the foreseeable future? How is that working?
Okay, Dawn is going to respond to Katrina.
Councillor Appleby, I've been in discussion with the mayors about the structure, moving to from the liaison position to a committee of council and its duties and responsibilities. So we're working through all that process, and that will come forth for council's review and adoption in the public chamber, hopefully within the next 2 weeks.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Just wanted to get an update on where we are on it. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Anything else, Councillor Tapper? I think that's it. Thank you. Okay, next we have, Intergovernmental Affairs, Jackburn Arena. Councillor Pollard?
Thank you, Your Worship.
Yeah.
Not much to report from the last time. I know we have our AGM coming up next Thursday, not this Thursday coming, but the 28th, I think it is, yeah. So we'd have more to report at that point in time.
Okay, thank you. Northeast Avalon Joint Council, we have one.
Deputy Mayor,
Yes,
before you move off to Jack Byrne,
yeah,
can I just have one comment there, please?
okay, sure, go ahead.
I just want to put a thank you out to the Jack Byrne staff and the board of directors. I was down to the Jack Byrne the other day and I received a copy of the financial statements for the year end. And I'm very happy to see that the arena, the board, ended out the year in the black. And I just want to recognize, the last couple of years that we have worked our way through the pandemic. The board had changed its meeting schedule to have monthly meetings to make sure that they were able to mitigate the risk when it came to the impact of COVID. And I think that a well-deserved shout-out needs to go to the board and the communities that work together with our staff there to really find a way to navigate that with the least amount of pain and least amount of risk when it comes to our community. So I just want to take a couple minutes to acknowledge their work, thank them for it, and say congratulations to everybody who's been involved. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next was the Northeast Avalon Joint Council. There's a package attached. I would say that last week we had a really good meeting. Went on for an extra long period of time, but it was good discussions that were there. The next meeting will be on the third Wednesday in May. Next report is from the Torbay Volunteer Fire Department. Councillor Manning.
Okay, I attended their April 11th meeting. Within that, the last 2-week period, they had 5 calls. They went on to discuss their ongoing training, as always, continuous training going on there. They did have a discussion on a program they're looking at maybe somewhere down the line bringing in, of dropping off all smoke detectors, which I thought was a good idea. And also there's fireworks regulations that they're reviewing and coming back with some comments on back to the town. So other than that, that's pretty much that's it.
Okay. UMC, it's Mayor Scott. Notice of motion. We have a notice of motion for next meeting from Councillor Appleby. Was sent, a notice was sent out today. So Councillor Appleby, speak to that, or will I bring the update?
I can speak to that, Deputy Mayor, if you're okay with that.
Fine.
Thank you. I'd like to serve a notice of motion to ask for the town of Torbay's support to run as a candidate for the Federation of Canadian Municipalities again. I wanted to serve the notice of motion to allow time for council to, prepare, ask questions, work through anything that we need to, leading up to the motion. There is a set resolution that is required, and it was in the information that I sent to council today. It says, whereas the Federation of Canadian Municipalities represents the interests of member municipalities on policy and program matters that fall within federal jurisdiction, whereas FCM's board of directors is comprised of elected municipal officials from all regions and sizes of communities to form a broad base of support and provide FCM with the united voice required to carry the municipal message to the federal government. And whereas FCM's hybrid annual conference and trade show will be held June 2 to 5, 2022, during which time the annual general meeting will be held following the election of the FCN Board of Directors. So there's two pieces here to be it resolved. Be it resolved that the council, which will be of Torbay, endorsed me to stand for election on FCN Board of Directors for the period starting June 2020 and ending June 2023. And be it further resolved that council assumes all costs associated with me attending FCN Board of Directors meetings. Now, my understanding is that the hybrid model will continue into the new year. And with the travel policy that we have adopted, I understand that I qualify to be able to participate in that virtually. And so I just wanted to mention, you know, I've had a leadership role at this table for the past 2 years, and now have had the opportunity to understand how FCM works, how do we, you know, lobby the government, where are the benefits for our town. And our town has received $700,000 in the last 2 years due to the work of FCN. And last council meeting that we had, I was sitting at the 8th floor of the Bain Johnson building downtown with Minister Goody Hutchings, you know, speaking with her about items that we needed for municipalities in the federal budget. So I think that it's important to recognize the leadership role that we have. And I mentioned earlier in the meeting, you know, the committee that I chair nationally had over $500 million worth of funding allocated this year to communities across the country to deal with gender-based violence. And there's a real opportunity for us at Torbay to have a voice at the table and to be able to bring forward our concerns, which are very similar concerns for many rural communities across the country, to be able to have a person there to talk about what does that mean from Torbay's perspective and how do we move forward national agenda items. So I would like to bring forward the notice of motion that I'm asking for the support at this point. I'm open to working with council and staff in any way if there's questions that's needed or discussions with FCM staff for clarification or anything else that's needed, just let me know. And I would ask that, you know, we have a conversation about bringing this motion forward at the next council meeting on May 2nd, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Appleby. Okay, now it is the go-around. So, Councillor Tapper didn't. Nobody here. Councillor Goss.
Sorry, is that myself? I couldn't hear you there.
So, for your go-around?
Congratulations.
Yes, I'd like to offer congratulations to the Holy Trinity Senior High School hockey team. We did something this year that's never been done in the history of the school. We finished first place in the Metro Division Tier 1. It's of note that we're actually potentially being put in Tier 2 this year. We won the play-in tournament, and those kids rose to the occasion, and we finished first in the Tier 1 division and lost. We lost in the final. We won the quarterfinals against St. Kevin's from the Goulds. Beat Holy Heart, again a much larger school than ours, beat them 2-1. And then we lost to an O'Donnell Mount Pearl team that we were outmatched, but I tell you what, we gave it everything we had. And I'm very proud of those kids. I'd like to center out Perry Cal for being top defenseman in the league this year, and Gabe Brown for being a top forward and MVP in the league this year. It was really, anybody who knows high school hockey from our region knows that we've got a smaller school and a feeder system than most of those larger schools. So I can't say enough about what those kids, they did everything we asked and more, and we're so proud as a coaching staff and as a community for what they brought to their school. And just something off the cuff that I meant to mention before, just wanted to bring up that anybody who's interested in the Jack Byrne Arena Association and we're bringing up new community reps, and the deadline is this coming Friday. I apologize for mentioning it now, but I skipped it when we were talking about the JBR. But anybody interested, please put their name forth. Again, deadlines are this coming Friday, and we appreciate any community support and from the community representatives putting their time forth as volunteers.
Thank you, Councillor Goss. Councillor Appleby?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'd like to thank the people who have served the last 2 years at the Jack Byrne Board. I know there's been a lot of hours and time and effort that have gone in from our council reps that have been appointed and have served there. So thank you to them. And I also want to thank the people at Northeast Minor. There's been an awful lot of work that's been put into the Girls Hockey Association. I know my daughter came through there, and those coaches are second to none. The work that's been done around female hockey, to see little purple unicorns excited to meet the big eagles, it was just fabulous. So thank you to the volunteers for the work they do. I also wanted to do a quick shout out and thank Minister Crystalline Howell for joining us for the coffee break last week. It was great for her to participate and support women in the municipal sector. And I also want to thank Minister Goody Hutchings for taking the time to meet with us to have a conversation about the federal budget and what we need for municipalities. And last thing, I want to thank our MHA member, Jody Walls. Jody has been participating in email communications around speeding on the Bali line. And he's committed again to go back and try to help the town get some things sorted on the speed limits that are there. So I think it's important that, people know that we've got so many different partners working with us, and just to send a thank you out to them. My very last thank you is to staff tonight. I'm calling in because we have COVID in our house. I don't have COVID myself, but it's in my household. And I just want to say thank you to staff for shorter notice, making it so that I was able to participate virtually this evening and make sure that we're keeping everybody safe. So that's it for me. A lot of thank yous, but thanks a lot, everybody.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Appleby. I'd just like to say thank you to all of our volunteers in the community. And I have to say a special thank you to the coaches of the Northeast Eagles. I had the opportunity to participate there quite often this year with my grandson, and to see the amount of changes that have taken place over the years and how organized and what actually goes into being involved as being a coach for hockey. So I can appreciate where Councillor Goss is coming from. And I know I touched on it before, but I'd like to say a special thank you to all of those involved down at the Common with the Easter activities and the different events that they've had, and even will continue over the next week or so during the Easter break. Very much appreciated. And that's it. Do we have any questions? Okay. Our next public meeting is scheduled for May 2nd at 6:30 here in the chamber. And before I call for a motion to adjourn, I'd just like to say a special thank you to, sorry, I missed down here in Paula. I was so, looking at, wondering if there was any sent in. I never looked up to see if there was anyone here. Sorry about that, Paula.
The yield sign at the 12-way intersection on Torbay Road has been missing since January. Can I turn on it?
Oh, okay.
You want me to?
Yeah, no, she just wants to turn on your mic there.
To the mic. The yield sign on the 12-way intersection on Torbay Road has been missing since January. And Dawn, thank you for bringing the province into that. I do know it's a provincial issue, but it really is a Torbay issue. Every time I pass by there, I'm just hoping everybody instinctively knows that it's supposed to be there, and it has been missing since January. My email started in February. And I think there were 3.
We'll loop the MHA in on that conversation as well too, and hopefully he can light some fires and get some action, and we'll send it back around again to TI as well.
Thank you. The other thing is the potholes on Marine Drive, and I know it's on Facebook, and I know everybody knows, whether you're driving over them or hearing about it. And I also know that that's provincial, but I'm wondering, but it's also a Torbay issue, and I know the Torbay trucks drive over them probably every day. And I'm wondering if there's any way that residents and Torbay staff can become part of that. I know, or at least last year, I seem to remember orange, probably sandfield bags in Portugal Cove, St. Philip's, and I wonder if they work. I'm wondering if there's anything the residents can do, like adopt a pothole, fill it, keep an eye on it. One of the things too is I know that I don't know ages or genders, but I know people are riding their dirt bikes and their four-wheelers, and they certainly do go up that road. And I would hate to see a person not expecting that and hit it with a dirt bike. And it doesn't matter that they shouldn't be there. It would just be a shame if they hit a speed. Now, I have a Kia low profile, and I know how to navigate them all, and no problem there. And they're great little speed bumps, actually. But something really needs to happen there. So that's my question. Even though it's provincial, is there anything that residents can do or town staff can do? Thank you.
That's something that we've been doing on an ongoing basis, trying to get the staff involved to see. I don't know, Brian, if there's any comment that, because we're very limited, seeing that it's a provincial road and what we...
Yeah. Best thing I could suggest is to call your MHA. Because we don't maintain those roads, and we've dove into that in the past and got the town in some trouble, so we avoid those roads.
And I thought that was the case, and I was thinking, and also, you know, if you were at a small town, maybe 50 years ago, people would go out and throw dirt, but if I went out and threw dirt, which I'm not going to, and it hasn't crossed my mind, I'd probably get in trouble, or if something happened. So I know that residents' involvement is limited, but there has to be a solution. The MHA is a good one, just do pothole checks daily. Some of them, there's one particular one that's pretty vicious on Marine Drive.
Okay, thank you, Paula. All right, I just want to say a special thank you tonight before we adjourn the meeting for staff and council's patience and putting up with me up here, this chair. It's the first time in, I don't think I've ever, even when I was deputy mayor before, so thank you once again, and to the two councillors that were calling in. Thank you very much for your patience with me. And with that, I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.